What is up, boys? It is Prince Sai. Today, I'll be reading my own custom what if. Probably not custom what if. People probably made thousands of these. If Deku had Broly's powers. If Deku had Broly's powers as a quirk, basically is what I'm saying. I had a lot of fun writing this actually. I started writing it at 2 a.m. So I basically got no sleep writing this. But yeah, hope you enjoy the video. Hope you enjoy the what if. Can you please not mind me stuttering a lot? I stutter a lot while reading. So yeah. When Izuku and Inko Midoriya went to this doctor to discover Izuku's quirk, what Izuku's quirk is, they figured out something amazing. Instead of Izuku being quirkless in the original timeline, they thought Izuku has a quirk. So it's obviously Broly's powers. The doctor comes inside the room and has a shocked expression on his face. Inko looks at the doctor with a worried expression. She says, "What's wrong, doctor?" The doctor looks back at Inko and then oh my gosh, I can't read. Izuku. Why did it take me so long to say that? He leans to Izuku and says in an enthusiastic voice, "You have a quirk, buddy." Izuku's face freezes with a smile. Inko's eyes light up and she hugs Izuku, but she notices he doesn't make a sound and he's still smiling. She takes him into the car, and when they went inside, Izuku starts to jump around everywhere in the car. And he just kept screaming, "Mom, I have a quirk! I have a quirk! Mom, I have a quirk!" Inko smiles at Izuku. A day passes and everyone has their quirk. Even Bakugo. Well, of course he does. Bakugo walks up to Izuku with a group of friends and asks him, "Hey Midoriya! Hey Midoriya! What kind of quirk do you have?" Izuku looks at Bakugo with his face lined up and says, "I don't know!" Bakugo notices something. He sees that Izuku's appearance changed. Instead of his hair being darkish green, it's now brown, and he has black eyes instead of them being green. He also notices that Izuku has a tail. Bakugo then smiles and says, "You don't know? Well, if you don't know, then oh my freaking gosh. Then that must mean you don't have a quirk." Ha 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 ha! Obviously he does have a quirk, Bakugo, you idiot. Why does he have a tail then? The other kids laugh at Izuku. Izuku insists that he does have a quirk. He just doesn't know what it is. Bakugo just keeps mocking Izuku while laughing in his face. I knew you'd be a quirkless loser." Izuku gets up and screams, "I am not quirkless!" Bakugo and the other kids fly back and the ground has a mini crater circled around Izuku. Bakugo looks up and sees that Izuku's eyes are glowing white without any pupils. Izuku learns to calm down and sprints to Bakugo with Bakugo moving backwards a little bit because he's scared. "Kachan, I am not quirkless. I don't know how to prove it to you, but I'm telling you, I'm not quirkless." Bakugo looks up at Izuku with a frightened expression on his face. But once he wakes up, he looks at Izuku with intense fury on his face. "You know what? Since you want to embarrass me, we're going to fight after school." Izuku tells Bakugo he doesn't want to fight, but Bakugo is persistent. I'm kind of mad I wrote that part in because since he has Broly's quirk, Broly as a quirk, it's just him being a Saiyan and having Broly's potential. He should have been I should have wrote a part where he's kind of excited, to fight people. "And if I win, then you're a loser, a quirkless normie, and Deku, yeah, you're a Deku." Izuku just looks at Bakugo with confusion. The school day ends and Izuku waits for his mom. Izuku then thought to himself, "I'm bored. Oh, maybe I can go to the park. Mom should know where to pick me up, and plus I go there almost every week." Izuku runs to the park and plays on the swings until he was interrupted by Bakugo and his lackeys. He looks at Bakugo and waves at him, but Bakugo looks at Izuku with intent. He runs up to him while the lackeys follow. "Remember what I said earlier, Deku? We're gonna fight!" Izuku looks back at Bakugo and just decides to ignore him. Bakugo is surprised and gets angry. so he decides to run up to Izuku and punches him while using his quirk. Izuku flies off the swing while hitting the pavement of the park. Bakugo laughs at Izuku as he cries. Ha 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 ha! That's what you get for embarrassing me! Izuku gets up with an angry expression on his face. Suddenly, the ground around both Izuku and Bakugo starts to shake. Izuku's cries turn into loud roars. Bakugo looks at Izuku with a frightened expression on his face. Izuku looks up at Bakugo and starts to run at him, laughing like Broly. Every kid and an adult look at Izuku and Bakugo, and a delinquent teenager takes out his phone and starts to record them. Izuku runs and jumps at Bakugo. Bakugo quickly dodges the attack while Izuku crashes through a tree. Izuku gets up and looks at Bakugo and starts to smile. Izuku then points his hand at Bakugo, attempting to shoot him with a ki blast, but Inko intervenes. She calls Izuku's name. She runs up to Izuku as Izuku returns to base form, and Inko picks him up, taking him inside the car, leaving Bakugo traumatized with a blank expression. Just imagine Kid Bakugo smiling while with a blanking expression on his face. Izuku, what were you doing? Were you about to shoot that kid with your... Inko looks at Izuku and his tail. Quirk? Izuku responds, I don't know. I just kinda got really upset when Kachan pushed me. And then I got really angry. Inko looks at Izuku and says, Izuku, I think your quirk's powers trigger when you're sad, mad, or frustrated. I think you can still use your quirk when you're calm. Just make sure to not get upset too much, okay? Izuku looks up at his mom with his face lightened up. Jesus. Okay. A decade passes, and Izuku is in class, easily passing through the questions and acing his class. The class takes a break, and Izuku is just learning new ways and ideas on how he can use his quirk and activate his quirk abilities. He also found a good name for his quirk. He calls his quirk Broly. Guys, basically what I did here, I personally, I kind of thought it was smart. Like, Deku was eating dinner, right? And then his dinner had broccoli in it, and then he just reformed the words a little bit. He just deleted CC and O, and kept the L and the I. This time, Broly's name, Izuku's quirk name, is just gonna be Broly, like, with an I instead of a Y. So, yeah, kind of like Bro-lie. He was studying until he hears a sentence coming out of Bakugo's mouth. My quirk is way stronger than that loser Deku. Izuku looks at Bakugo with a calm but also intense glare. He stares. Bakugo grits his teeth as sweat rolls down his face. The school day ends and Izuku is walking home until the Sludge villain attacks him. The Sludge villain starts to laugh at Izuku and mock him for how weak he is. Izuku stays calm and warns the Sludge villain to let him go. Let me go or you'll regret it, and he has a muffled voice because the Sludge villain is covering his mouth. The Sludge villain mocks Izuku again. Oh yeah? What are you gonna do about it, huh? Izuku sighs and thinks about something that makes him angry. Suddenly, Izuku's aura explodes. And the Sludge villain's body flies off of Izuku's body. Izuku looks at the Sludge villain and aims his hand at the Sludge villain, saying, Blaster Cannon! Izuku's hair starts to flow from his yellow and light green aura, and suddenly a light green ball starts to form around Izuku's hand, and suddenly a full-on blast hits the Sludge villain. The Sludge villain screams in pain from the intense heat and power he feels from Izuku. Izuku stops the attack and looks at the Sludge villain. You gonna leave me alone? With a smirk on the left side of his face, while on the right side of almost a terrifying grin. Because he's basically Broly. He's about to crash out too. The Sludge villain looks up at Izuku as he starts to collect himself, but as he rushes at Izuku, while Izuku gets ready to suppress his ki again, All Might intervenes and punches the Sludge villain. All Might looks up at Izuku, saying he is safe now, but Izuku just screams. Suddenly, Izuku's ki explodes. All Might flies back and hits a wall, and as he feels Izuku's immense power. A bigger crater circled around Izuku, like that crater back when he was in 3rd grade. And he starts to laugh as he walks up to All Might. All Might yells at Izuku, Hey kid, that's enough, we got him! Izuku continues to walk up to All Might, and then Izuku charges at him and punches him in the gut. All Might grunts in pain, and then Izuku also uppercuts him. He then flies up to All Might, grabbing his ankles with his hands, spinning while throwing him to the ground. Izuku then flies up into the air and starts to jump on All Might's stomach, like he did to I think it was Goku. Yeah, it was Goku. Uh, All Might's stomach. All Might continues to scream in pain, while Izuku keeps laughing while keeping the same grin on his face. All Might then blocks and then punches Izuku, and then he grabs and then he jump and then grabs Izuku's feet, jumping in the air and then landing a punch and an uppercut. Izuku's head rolls back, but then he picks up his head and looks at All Might with a face that has intent to kill. All Might clocked his arm, getting ready to throw a heavy punch. They both launch their fists, and their fists collide with each other's fists. Then they start to clash, and then they end it with both of them punching their faces. They sending them both flying back. All Might crashes to a store, while Izuku crashes onto a car. All Might gets up, thinking to himself, "Damn, that kid was strong. He gave me a hard time. To think such a kid can even land that many blows on me." All Might walks up to Izuku and sees his head is bleeding. He picks up Izuku and takes him to a hospital until he hears explosions. He sprints to the area, still weak but can still fight. He sees that Bakugo was caught by the Sludge villain and is struggling. All Might puts down Izuku. He then jumps to run over to the Sludge villain. He then heavy punches to the Sludge villain again. Izuku wakes up and sees his mom right next to him. He asks, "Mom, what am I doing here?" I thank you guys so much for watching. I had a really fun time writing this what if story. This isn't really the last thing I wrote. I wrote more, as you can see in the screen recording. I just decided, you know what, I'm not gonna do that much because I don't want to freaking edit that long because I'm lazy. I'm a lazy bum. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good day. God bless.